Have you ever noticed the quietest child in the room? The one who sits politely, barely makes a sound, never asks for too much, and always seems to follow the rules. At first glance, they appear perfect, a parent's pride, a teacher's model student, the epitome of discipline and obedience. But beneath that calm, orderly exterior, there is often a silent ache, a hidden pain, a weight carried in silence behind nods, smiles, and quiet compliance. And the truth is, what looks like perfection in childhood often leaves invisible scars, scars that ripple far into adulthood. This is the story of the obedient child. Not just the child you might remember from your past, but the child that still lives quietly in so many adults today. Every child is born with raw impulses, natural emotions, and unfiltered desires. They want to cry when they are hurt, laugh when they feel joy, run when they are full of energy, resist when something feels wrong. These are the signals of a human being learning to navigate the world. But what happens when a child quickly learns that their natural impulses are inconvenient? When their tears disrupt, their laughter is too loud, their questions too many, their resistance unwelcome. Because what obedient children learn, often without realizing it, is this: your authentic self is too much. To be loved, you must shrink, mute, and comply. This is the first hidden cost of obedience. Children trade pieces of their authenticity for approval, safety, and love. And the cost? It lasts a lifetime. Over time, the obedient child begins to tame themselves. They learn to read rooms better than most adults. They anticipate needs, adjust their behavior, and suppress their own impulses. And while this can look like maturity or emotional intelligence, it often lays the foundation for a lifelong pattern of self-suppression. Psychologists call this conditional love. It's the kind of love that is available only when the child behaves correctly: quiet, compliant, helpful, agreeable. Many obedient children grow up believing that love and safety are not inherent but earned, contingent on performance and compliance. Here's the part many people miss. Obedience isn't always healthy. Sometimes it is a survival strategy, a quiet, inwardly whispered promise to themselves. If I am good enough, quiet enough, helpful enough, maybe I will be loved. And then, slowly, subtly, the child starts to forget their own needs. Their voice softens, their desires shrink. Their emotions become inconvenient visitors they quickly learn to hide. Let's pause and think about the adult version of this child. Perhaps you know them. Perhaps you are them. The adult who struggles to say no even when exhausted. The one who takes on extra work hoping to be appreciated. The friend who listens endlessly but shares very little. The partner who avoids conflict at all costs. These are the echoes of the obedient child still resonating years later. Why is this so painful? Why does being good carry such a heavy cost? The answer lies in what psychologists call authenticity loss. Human beings are wired to express themselves, to cry, laugh, argue, question, and play. These natural impulses are repeatedly suppressed, the self fragments. The outer self becomes polished, agreeable, and composed. The inner self muted, silenced, sometimes forgotten. Over time, that inner voice whispers less and less until one no longer recognizes the person behind the mask. Have you ever wondered why so many adults struggle with identity, purpose, or self-worth? Perhaps their earliest lessons weren't about discovering who they were, but shaping themselves into who others needed them to be. That is the silent inheritance of obedience. Research in developmental psychology confirms this. Children who are excessively obedient often score lower on measures of self-esteem later in life. Why? Because they were rewarded for erasing themselves, not for discovering themselves. Their natural curiosity, their emotional honesty, their desire to express and explore, these were quietly discouraged. Consider this. A child wants to paint with wild, bright colors, but is told to stay inside the lines. A child wants to ask endless why questions, but learns silence is safer. A child wants to say, "I'm sad," but smiles instead because sadness is inconvenient. What happens to these suppressed feelings? They don't vanish, they transform into anxiety, perfectionism, emptiness, or a persistent sense of being unseen. This is the paradox of obedience. Society praises it, parents reward it, teachers celebrate it, but rarely asks, at what cost? And what happens when the adult who has always complied encounters a world where obedience isn't enough? Following every rule at work, yet overlooked for promotion. Giving endlessly in relationships, yet feeling unloved. Remaining quiet among friends, yet feeling invisible. These moments awaken the hidden pain. The cracks appear. And only then do many realize the price they have paid for being good. But here's a subtle truth. The obedient child also develops gifts: empathy, sensitivity, awareness. They can read emotions, hold space, and bring calm to chaos. These are profound strengths, but often they come at a personal cost: the soul's quiet erosion. So what is the path forward? How does an adult reclaim the voice that obedience once buried? The journey begins with awareness, noticing when you say yes while your heart screams no, recognizing the tension between what you show to the world and what you feel inside. Awareness often brings grief, the grief of a childhood muted, of relationships half-lived, of years spent performing rather than being. But grief, as painful as it is, clears space for transformation. The next step is permission, giving yourself the right to exist outside others' expectations. Permission to rest, to say no, to express messy emotions. Permission to be human, not just agreeable. And finally, courage, the bravery to live authentically even if it disrupts systems built on compliance. To choose truth over safety, to risk disapproval in favor of self-recognition. Imagine a child who never had to earn love by being obedient, who could cry without fear, laugh without shame, resist without consequence. What kind of adult would they become? Likely someone balanced, confident, and creative. Someone unafraid to challenge, question, and innovate. Someone capable of true, unconditional love. And here's a radical thought. You can reparent the obedient child within yourself. Whisper to that inner child, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to always say yes. You are worthy simply because you exist. This is not just personal healing, it is revolutionary. Every obedient child turned adult who reclaims their voice challenges a culture built on conformity. They model a new way of being, love and respect not earned through compliance, but received through authenticity. Of course, breaking obedience patterns is rarely easy. It can feel like betrayal of parents, of teachers, of ingrained beliefs. But often what feels like betrayal is liberation. Because the greatest loyalty we can offer is not to the masks we wear, but to the truth of who we are. If you were once the obedient child, know this: your pain is real, but it is not the end of your story. Beneath obedience lies empathy, strength, and insight. Beneath silence lies a voice that deserves to be heard. Beneath hidden pain lies the possibility of transformation. A new beginning where worth is not measured by compliance, but by authenticity. And for those raising or mentoring children today, remember, the goal is not perfect obedience. The goal is safety. A space where children can be themselves, express freely, make mistakes, ask questions, resist, and explore. That is how a generation grows free of hidden pain, capable of authenticity, courage, and true empathy. The obedient child may have been quiet, but their story is not. Their story is one of awakening, courage, and reclamation. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all, true goodness is not found in obedience. True goodness is found in authenticity. True love is not earned. It is freely given. And those who once silenced themselves can one day speak with the loudest, most authentic voice. Not just for themselves, but for generations to come. The obedient child may have carried hidden pain, but they also carry the seeds of transformation. The question is not whether they can reclaim their voice, it is whether they will choose to. And when they do, the world itself becomes richer for it.